All right. Great morning, superstars. How's everyone doing out there this morning? Welcome, 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 welcome to another amazing episode of Social Media Saturdays. So, how many of you are actively on LinkedIn? And so, if you're out there and you're watching and you are on LinkedIn, do me a favor, drop me a comment into the comment section and let me know. Yes, Taria, I do have a LinkedIn profile. And then, how many of you have realized that some of the strategies that you have applied to other platforms don't quite work on LinkedIn? So, if you found yourself out there on LinkedIn and you don't know what to do, then definitely this broadcast is for you. And so, how many of you are asking the questions like, how can I best leverage the platform? And so, if you have answered yes, to any of those three questions, then I promise you we're going to have a good time. On this episode, we are going to answer all of those questions. So one of the things that I've kind of noticed with the LinkedIn platform is over the years I've watched the platform transform into from one of those social media networks where you go out and you look to quote unquote find a job. This is when I first heard of LinkedIn. That's what LinkedIn was for. And now it's a massive branding tool and one of the tools that I use to leverage, in my business. And so today we are sitting down with our special guest. I have a special guest today, and then we are going to talk about the five biggest mistakes that impact your bottom line on LinkedIn. So if you are out there and you are watching and you are joining, do me a favor in the comment section, let me know where you are watching from. So as you enter the broadcast, please put your city and put your state and let me know where you are watching from. I see Adil is out there this morning. Great morning, Adil. Thank you so much for tuning in to the broadcast. And Adil says, I have a profile on LinkedIn, but I am more active on Facebook, trying to get back on LinkedIn now. So Adil, you're similar to me, right? So Facebook is my go-to platform, right? And I'm learning some cool things about LinkedIn that we're going to share today. So thank you, Adil, once again for tuning in and joining. Do me a favor, put in the comment section where you are watching from. And then another thing that I would like our superstars to do is let me know who you serve in your business. Okay, so who do you serve in your business? And then also how we can connect with you. Now, this is something that I ask every time we do an episode. And the reason why is because I absolutely love the virtual networking that happens here on Social Media Saturdays. And I love the networking that continues to go on during the week until we meet again. But here's the thing, we won't know who you are, right? Unless you tell us. We won't know who you serve unless you tell us. And we won't know how to connect with you unless you tell us. So if you have a Facebook business page, a LinkedIn profile, well, since we're doing LinkedIn today, let's do it this way. Drop your LinkedIn profile into the comment section. That way we could all follow each other on LinkedIn. And then, like I said, make sure you let us know who you serve. So I see Adil is out there and Adil is watching from Pakistan. Once again, great morning, Adil. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining. And so if this is your first time, tuning in, or maybe you're scrolling through your timeline and you just happen to see the video and you're wondering what's going on, welcome to Social Media Saturdays. And I am your host, Taria Hodge. And this is a place where you come to learn how to serve, share, and shine. So each Saturday, what I do, I share real strategies designed to fuel your business, capture your authentic message, and position you as an influencer in the marketplace. Okay. All right. And so today, like I mentioned, we are unpacking the five biggest mistakes entrepreneurs make on LinkedIn that impacts their bottom line. And I have a special guest with me this morning. So without any further ado, I'll introduce our guest. And our special guest today is an award-winning speaker, an award-winning certified brand coach and LinkedIn ghostwriter to the stars. She also teaches experts how to build brands that allow them to be seen as influencers in the marketplace without being famous. Now, also in 2021, VIP Global Magazine named her one of the top 50 most influential women in business. She's also been featured in Black Enterprise Magazine, Sheen Magazine, the BIA Brand Magazine, and on the cover of Entrepreneurs of Color magazine. Her influence have allowed her to share the stages with the likes of Les Brown, Jeff Hoffman, Janice Bryant Howard, Della Toro McNeil, and Dr. Felicia Phillips, among others. So please help me welcome the LinkedIn professor and my coach, Tawana Ross. Great morning. Welcome, Coach Tawana.
Hello, superstar. Good morning. Good morning,
Great
everyone.
morning.
Welcome.
Great morning. Yes, I see that we have Sharette out there this morning. Great morning, Sharette. Thank you so much for tuning in. And then we also have Peg Duchesne out there this morning. Great morning, Peg. Ladies, as you watch the broadcast, don't forget to let us know where you're watching from. And also drop your LinkedIn profile link into the comments. So that's how we're connecting on this episode this morning. Okay. So if, I always ask how we could connect with you, make sure you let us know how we could connect with you on LinkedIn. Okay, so Coach Tawana, I am so excited, to have this conversation with you this morning because I'm going to share with you, just like Adil stated, in the comment section, I'm a Facebook girl. So when I started, social media, Facebook was the place that I hung my hat, and I decided, to learn, all I could, about the platform, and then market and build my audience on Facebook. But needless to say, I do have a LinkedIn account, and I have to be like quite, I'll be honest, because you already know, right? So I have to be quite honest with our superstars. So even though I had a LinkedIn account, like the LinkedIn account wasn't getting a lot of love. Okay. And the reason why it wasn't getting a lot of love is because I think I was kind of unsure, of the platform and what to do on the platform, and then a little intimidated, by the platform. So it's like when you, or at least when I started to get on LinkedIn, one of the things that I realized is that the audience was a little bit different on LinkedIn. They kind of had their own little vibe on LinkedIn. And so, there were times where, I started to feel kind of unsure. What do I do on LinkedIn? How should I position on LinkedIn? But I've watched the platform, especially within the past 3 years now, like totally change and open up for a lot more opportunities. And I have to say, guys, Coach Tawana, she's my LinkedIn coach, right? So they say, like, when you don't know what you're doing and you need some help, you got to call in the big guns. You got to call in the help. So Coach Tawana was the person that I called in to help me get my LinkedIn life correct. Okay. And I have to say that I am so pleased with the things that Coach Tawana has shared with me to do on LinkedIn. I've watched my connections grow. I've watched engagements grow. I've watched people, reach out to me for connections, not just in the vein of being a client, but also for speaking and training opportunities as well. So I'm super excited. So let's first have you introduce yourself and tell our superstars a little bit about you.
Oh my gosh, I was listening to you introduce me, and I thought this is like the most awesome introduction. I sometimes, not sometimes, but often need to pinch myself when I think about this journey and what has happened in my life. And I'll tell you, I wasn't on social media at all. I wasn't online at all as recent as 2014. And in fact, I was
Wow.
adamant because I worked in the wireless industry for 20 plus years. I was adamant about not having an online presence. I would dare people to go Google me because I knew that they wouldn't find anything. That was what I hung my hat on back then. But in 2014, I made a decision randomly that
Mhm.
I wanted to leave my job and do something different. And at the time, because I had no online presence and because I didn't do much networking, I knew that I needed to find somewhere that I could build my network and be seen and considered
Yeah.
for my next step. And I remembered that a coworker told me the year prior that, this whole thing of you not being present online is not really helping you. You need to be on LinkedIn. That's where people go to find you and learn more about your
Yeah.
professional journey. And I paid that no mind. So here I am in 2014 and I really want to do something different. So I need to jump into this LinkedIn thing. So I worked with coaches. I had mentors that taught me how to stand out on this platform. And I'll tell you what, within 2.5 months, not only did I have 4 new job offers that were better than where I was, but the real reward, the real magic of this platform in that time was that I made the connections and build relationships with people that got me to think beyond that next position. And I actually started a business
Wow.
after that 2.5 months. That was never part of the plan.
Yeah.
I had never envisioned having my own business. But
Wow.
within that short amount of time and the impact of this platform and being effective on this platform and standing out on this platform, that's the benefit that I walked away with. And ever since 2014, I've been adamant about teaching this to other people. And specifically, I do work with experts who want to be seen as influencers. So they want to really go from being the hunter to being the hunted. And
Mhm.
they really have sometimes a struggle with what their overall brand is about. So
Yeah.
I'm into teaching people how to take what they do, their skill set, and turn that into a brand that the marketplace will recognize so that they can monetize what they want to do and see themselves in a different way by leveraging what their true gift is, their superpowers, if you will.
Yeah. And I love that, right? And I have to say, like, you're similar to me, like when it, came to social media, so when, all of this social media hubbub came about, I didn't want to get, on a social media platform, and I
Mhm.
shied away from it for a very long time. But it wasn't until, I started my entrepreneurial journey, then I realized, the power of social media. Say, hey,
Mhm.
there might be something here, right?
Right.
So let's take a closer look at this.
Mhm.
And I love what you're sharing, when it comes to LinkedIn and being able to stand out and,
Mhm.
stand out and be seen as an influencer on LinkedIn. And so one of the things that, I would like for you to share, it's like, once again, I know we say it all the time, like, you need to be on LinkedIn, you need to be on LinkedIn. But seriously, why do you need to establish a brand on LinkedIn? And I think that you said something so key just now. How do you take, your gifts and your talents, and those things, and showcase them, on LinkedIn? And move away from the idea that LinkedIn is just this stuffy, platform where you need to be so rigid.
Mhm. I'm going to use your word. The platform has transformed so tremendously.
Mhm.
We all do remember seeing this as the place to go find a job. And unfortunately, I hear from an entrepreneur every day that tells me that they're not present. They don't have a presence on LinkedIn. And it just breaks my heart because in the transforming of this platform, it has really gone beyond just being an online resume tool. And
Mm.
like you said, it's now a massive branding tool. Now, I admit I may be biased here as a branding coach, But this is a massive branding tool. And when I say massive, there are half a billion people on LinkedIn. But what so many entrepreneurs don't recognize is that this is the place we go to vet you. This is the place we
Mhm.
go to make a decision. LinkedIn is either sales prevention or sales enablement. It's one or
Ooh,
the other. When we get there, we open your profile. According to LinkedIn, the average person on LinkedIn opens and closes a profile within 4 seconds.
wow.
4 seconds. So this is the place we go make a buying decision, and we make that
Mhm.
buying decision very quickly. We are in and out of your profile within 4 seconds. That means you're not standing out with any kind of value. There's nothing for us to see here. it,
Yeah,
it looks like a resume, it sounds like a resume, if you have anything there at all.
yeah,
So it breaks my heart because this is it's such a powerful piece of real estate that someone can be customizing and allowing the public to see where their gifts are by telling their story here.
yeah. And in working with you, that was one of the things that I really was surprised about. Like I said, Facebook was a place, where I started and I hung my hat. And so, I got really, accustomed, of you said, like sharing the story. And when you shared with me, like, oh my gosh, you need to come over here on LinkedIn and do the same thing. I was just like, what? They want to hear stories on LinkedIn,
Mhm.
not just see articles.
Mhm. Yeah, LinkedIn is about connecting.
Yeah,
And in business, connecting requires that people get to know, like, and trust you. So
yeah,
there's got to be an opportunity for people to latch on to your brand by seeing you consistently, but seeing the real, authentic you in all of your glory.
yeah,
So what you are on all the other platforms should be consistent with what people see here, just
yeah,
knowing that people are using this tool to vet you and
yeah.
your brand.
Yeah. So, I'm going to share one of and I know you come from a branding perspective. And so I have to put this out there. So one of the biggest things, and I hope that none of my superstars are doing this, but one of the things that I see also on LinkedIn, there are still a lot of eggs on LinkedIn. And so you know what I call an
Mhm.
egg, right? Those profile pictures,
Mhm.
that have no picture.
Mhm.
Okay. And like that's one of the quickest way to get someone off of your profile because they can't see you.
Right.
Are there any other things that you could talk about or share that from it just in that 4 seconds,
Mhm.
right? What do people need to see in that 4 seconds?
Well, when we open your profile, the very first thing that we see is what LinkedIn calls your top card. Your top card
Mm,
is that big section at the top. It's got your profile picture, it's got your banner at the top, it's got your contact info, your headline, all of the key pieces of information that someone should be exposed to immediately. Now, missed opportunity for so many people because, to your point, they don't have a profile picture,
mhm,
they don't have a banner at the top. Now,
mm.
for those watching that have access to LinkedIn right now, I want you to actually go open Miss Taria's profile, because this is going to make the point for me. When someone opens your profile, they have a reason to stay here longer than 4 seconds, because your top card is powerful. Your top card gives us a visual of who you are, what you do, what the results are, all in one gorgeous, colorful, visual, impactful piece of real estate. So, just in the visual alone, not
Mhm.
even considering your headline. I mean, can we
Yeah,
talk about your headline for a moment? I
yeah,
mean, the average person on LinkedIn has never customized their headline. So they've got the default headline, which is their current job title.
yeah,
I don't care what your job title is. There's nothing powerful about your job title that's going to make us stick around beyond 4 seconds. So again, what an incredible piece of real estate to optimize so
Yeah.
that people know what you do, who you do this for, what are your results, what are things that you want to be known for. You've got 220 characters here in your headline to make a statement that immediately makes you stand out. Give us something to stick around for beyond 4 seconds. And within that top card, you, as an example, have given us a reason to stick around. We want more, we want to see more. So you're immediately grabbing our attention and standing out, giving us what your brand is all about, all within that snapshot.
Yeah. And I think that that was the biggest thing, for me. So thank you, for sharing that, because I know how I felt, when we started to work through, that area, of my LinkedIn profile. And one of the things that I noticed is, as I started to reach out and build more connections and people are connecting with me, it did make a difference. And what was so crazy, I had the opportunity to attend a networking event, right? And the host actually called me, or reached out to me, I should say, right? And from the information that was, like you said, like in the description, we have 220 characters, use it, and she was able to say, "Oh, I see that you do this." And I have to admit, Coach Tawana, at first I was like, where'd she get that information from?
Yeah.
And then it dawned on me, I'm like, oh, yeah, 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 yeah. I did update my LinkedIn profile.
Mhm.
So it works.
Yeah. Absolutely. The more you feed us, the more we can digest and actually take up
Yeah,
on whatever your call to action is. So if that information hadn't been there,
yeah,
there could not have been any engagement. And you see this all the time. You open someone's profile. There's that default image at the top. That's not even an image. It's just the default graphic. Unfortunately, people who are on LinkedIn make a judgment immediately when they see that you've never customized that banner. They assume that either you are just not LinkedIn savvy, you haven't been to your profile in years, or you might be of a certain age. And unfortunately, that could be the wrong assumption
yeah,
altogether.
yeah,
But it's a perfect opportunity to grab our attention and hold us,
yeah,
capture us right there. So
yeah. And it's
you
so important
you've
because
done that.
yeah, we never know the opportunities that we're missing, because oftentimes, like I said, when I shared that experience, right? What if I didn't have that information there? Then she would have never reached out to me, and then the opportunity would have never been on the table. Yeah.
Exactly.
So, yeah. Cool.
Exactly. So not being on LinkedIn at all is
Mhm.
really one of the biggest
Yeah.
mistakes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, what key features would you say that, an entrepreneur, could use right now to make their brand stand out? So, I know we talked about the top card, and then we also talked about the description. What other features would you say that we should be paying attention to on
Well,
LinkedIn?
there used to be a section on LinkedIn at the top of your page called your summary. And in your summary, back in the day, people would really use that as the place where they would copy and paste their resume bullet points,
Yeah.
and use that as their summary. Well, in that transforming that you were talking about,
Yeah.
LinkedIn updated that section to now be called the About section.
Hmm.
And the theory behind this is where you tell us about you. This is where you tell us your story. This is where you build that know, like, and trust factor, so that by the time we get down to your experience section where we're reading about what you do, by then we would actually care, right? So, one of the best features that is so underutilized, especially for entrepreneurs, is the About section, giving us the
Mm.
opportunity to get to know you as though we're strangers. We're just meeting you for the first time, but you want us to buy into your brand and get to understand who's behind that. this is the perfect place to tell your story. And I believe this is one of the most missed opportunities because, again, like I said earlier, LinkedIn is about connecting. And people can't connect with you and
Mhm.
buy into your call to action if they haven't had an opportunity to get to know you. So here's where you tell that story. I get to work with people who have never told that story. They're not sure what their brand story is all about. So I get to work with them on building that actual messaging so that you can use your about section to stand out.
Yeah, and I like what you're sharing, and because one of the things that I also share on my platform as well is how to use your brand story, and then from that brand story you create your authentic messaging into the marketplace.
Mhm.
So that was I think one of the most exciting things in working with you, because I would have never thought about that. So
Mhm.
in the about section, the mindset shift for me was to move away from all of the technical things. And you hear me talk about this a lot. I was that person like who stayed in the how. Like you want to tell people,
Mhm.
this is what I do, and
Mhm.
all of those accolades and everything. And it was such a big eye opener, number one, but also fun and impactful to take the story, and craft the about section in LinkedIn, with the story, and
Mhm.
even going back, and reading it, and then listening to, people when they share and they interact with it. I was just like, wow,
Mhm.
this is so powerful,
Mhm.
right? And I'm so, like, once again, I can't say it. I'm so, like, blessed and fortunate, to have had the opportunity to work with you, because I don't see too many people doing that. Okay,
Right.
people use that section, to just, like you say, list the accolades and all
Mhm.
of the stuff. But this is, and I love how you put it, this is one of the areas, or the first areas, that people see on LinkedIn. Okay, and so you want to definitely build your like, know, and trust factor there.
Mhm.
And what better way to do it than through the power of story? So I love
Exactly.
it. Yeah.
Exactly. And your story is powerful no matter who you are, no matter what you do. And
Yeah.
when telling your story, that's when we can really engage. That's when we could really lean in and want to learn more about you. But again, if people are looking at profiles, they're opening and closing profiles within 4 seconds, here's the first piece of content that will grab our attention and make us stay for more. So I just think it's such a great feature that's underutilized, and a great opportunity as well to tell the algorithm what
Yeah.
your keywords are that you want to be found for, things that you want to show up in the search results for. So, a missed opportunity for those who aren't using the section.
Yeah, and I love that you mentioned that, because you talked about the keywords, and one of the things that I just saw, in the comments, right? Oz, good morning, Oz. Oz just said, no wonder I keep getting all of these IT job offers,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Yeah, and so it
Hmm.
lets us know that people out there, they are watching, right? They
Hmm.
are searching, and the question, is always, what are they going to see, or what's the experience that they're going to get when they come off, when they go to our profile, right? What's the experience? And I usually talk about this all the time, is that people are experiencing us even before we know that they're having that experience. So the question becomes, what do we want, that experience to be like?
Hmm.
Yeah.
I gotta actually throw in a second answer to your question, if it's okay, of
Hmm.
features. Again, one of the features that can really empower someone to build their brand on this platform is the visual aspect. So LinkedIn has LinkedIn Live now. It also has or you've got the ability now to add a 30-second video as your profile picture.
Yeah.
These are visual opportunities to draw people into you, let them see you, whether it's live, whether it's video, I can't tell you how many profiles I look at in a day that have no media whatsoever, no videos, no pictures, no anything that can make us see what you do as your superpower. So features in general on the platform that allow someone to see you are
Yeah.
ones to pay attention to.
Yeah, and I love that being able to use video. So it was one of the things that even in working with you, I didn't know that there were so many opportunities
Yes.
to put video. Like, usually, once again, being like, the other platform, the other platform person, right? The Facebook person, like in LinkedIn, just right there on the profile, you could have featured videos, all of that stuff. And
Right.
it's just like, wow, imagine if, like you said, you're that speaker, you're the coach, out there, and then you're going after certain opportunities. Why not showcase and give others the opportunity to experience what you do right there on your
Exactly.
profile? So those
Exactly.
are like just like the hidden gems that are inside LinkedIn that really make the platform, how to make the platform stand out, from other platforms. Okay.
And how to actually get more opportunities coming to
Mhm.
you.
Yeah.
So for someone like a speaker that has a library of visuals on their profile,
Hmm.
a event planner has no problem understanding what that speaker
Right.
does versus the speaker that has no visuals at
Yeah.
all. They don't even tell their story of what they speak
Yeah.
about. So if there's no content there for someone to digest who's a decision maker, someone like an event planner who's hiring speakers, the person who's got the media, the visuals, is more likely the one that's going to get the opportunity just by what they provide on LinkedIn. Because remember, LinkedIn is sales prevention or it's sales enablement. We are making a buying decision. And unfortunately, for most of the people on the platform, we're making that buying decision within 4 seconds, which means we're not choosing you. We're choosing your competition that makes us stay on their profile longer than 4 seconds. Another great example of that I see in the comments is Dee Bowden. She just dropped
Mhm.
her link. Now,
Hey,
I may
Dee.
be biased here again because I am I'm Dee Bowden's LinkedIn coach. So I see
Yes.
she gave you her profile link. When people open her profile, they will see what I'm
Yes.
talking about. They will see a reason to stick around longer than 4 seconds.
Yeah, I absolutely love it, and thank you, Dee, for dropping your LinkedIn,
Thank you, Dee.
your
Shout out to
LinkedIn
Dee.
profile. Shout out to, yeah, and I actually know Dee.
So you've seen her
Yes,
journey.
yes,
You've seen
yeah,
that every day you log into LinkedIn, the first thing that's on your timeline is Dee Bowden. Why? Because Dee has had a massive amount of opportunities coming
yeah,
her way, and maybe again I'm biased, but a lot of that growth that you've seen with Dee has come
yeah,
from what she's done with LinkedIn. Her
yeah,
brand is very visual on LinkedIn. It's present. She's consistent. People see the value in what she has to offer, and as a result, every day you log in, you see that she's speaking somewhere
yeah,
else. She's got some other opportunity somewhere else, right?
yeah,
That's that's what's happening.
and even the billboard in Times
Oh
Square.
gosh, that was just amazing. I mean, just amazing to see that. I'm so
Yes,
proud of her and her growth.
yes.
She's done some amazing things.
Yes, yes, and very much so. And so that is going to bring me in to our next question, and I think this is a thing that everyone wants to know. Yes, 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 doing all of that stuff, having a profile, the media, and everything, but how does it translate into the dollars? That's what
Mm,
people want to know, right?
yeah.
So how do you get more sales, that return of investment, the revenue, right? And I love you, Coach Tawana, because you are the type of person, you come out swinging. I saw a post that you did the other day, and I'm just like, why is Coach Tawana hurting the people like that? She's like, okay, if y'all are tired playing on the other social media networks, stop talking about my other networks. Okay, if you guys are tired playing on the other social media networks and you really want to make some dollars, right? Then LinkedIn is where it's at, right? So just share with us a little bit more about, when it pertains, to sales. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, on LinkedIn.
Absolutely, and I want to just start with what we all see that is not effective, which is people who immediately send you messages or they
Oh my
connect with
goodness.
you, and as soon as they connect with you, they're sending you some message about their products and services. They've got 11 links listed. Go to all these links, buy this product. Buy. No one asked for that. Okay, that's what not to do when you're looking for sales on LinkedIn. Again, LinkedIn is about connecting, it's about building the relationships. So we don't buy from people we don't know, like, and trust, which means that when you send us these messages with your products and services and all the things that you do, and should we get on, some Zoom call and talk about solutions? No, we haven't even had any dialogue. We don't know you, right? So if we don't know you, we certainly don't like you at this point because you're spamming us, which means we're never going to trust you. Now, if
Mhm.
it's me personally, if that's the kind of message I get from you and we haven't had any back and forth dialogue, I immediately go open your profile. I disconnect from you and then I block you. We
Ooh.
don't have time for this, because if you're going to engage with me that way, you're in my network. That means you have access to the other people in my network. So if you do that to me, you're going to turn around and do that to the people in my network. We're not having that. So we block those folks immediately. But the people who truly want to engage are the people that we actually respond with. Those are the relationships we build, we foster. Those relationships turn into business sales as a result of actually having that engagement with someone, learning what the problems are that they face on a regular basis, matching the solutions that you have with those problems, but genuinely as a result of that relationship building. And I think so many people on LinkedIn uh, uh, take shortcuts and want to jump straight to the sales process without actually building the relationship first. But for those who actually have the mindset of building their relationships there, they're the ones who see that those relationships turn into revenue for their business because they're top of mind. Their brand is visual, their brand is present, it's consistent. So people have them as the solution that they want already, but it comes from building those relationships.
Yeah. And I love that you shared that, Coach Tawana, because it's one of the things that, I had to pay attention to. And so, one of the things that, I talk about here on Social Media Saturdays is to be able to share the real strategies. Okay. And so some of the things that you might be able to get away with, on other platforms, right? And you might not be able to get away with it on LinkedIn, or even, and I don't even know where, the inbox strategy, has come about. But I've seen, a lot of inbox strategies, and it's different when you reach out to someone in the inbox and then you have a genuine, wanting for connection and building the relationship. There's a way that you do it,
Mhm.
versus just making a list, because I've heard people talk about this, right? Like, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a list of 10 people, every day from my connections, and I'm just going to go ahead and send them out this random message. And it sounds like a good idea, right? But to the other person, and I know, like I felt so bad when we started to work together. I thought that she was going to like spank me on my little hands, right? Like, why do you have all those messages sitting in there in LinkedIn? But here's the thing. The ones that I need to connect to, right? And the ones that are true connections, they're the ones that get checked.
Right.
So the people who are reaching out, and just like you said, they're just dropping, they're not even asking for a connection. They're
Right.
just like dropping links,
Right.
inviting you to buy products. And like, how do you even know if that's a pain point that I have? I don't think I've ever expressed that to you. So
Right.
like, why are you dropping it in my inbox, right? And so it became so good to have someone to really talk about that. And so even though you see people doing it, I can't tell you how many free downloads I've seen
Mm-hmm.
with that strategy, but
Yeah.
not giving people like the real skinny behind of this is how it should be done.
Right.
So I love that. I love that. And
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to also mention another thing that you said was so key, and I want everyone to really get this. What was so powerful that you shared just now is that people don't just have a connection to you. So whenever we accept a connection, right, it's not just them connecting to us, it's
Right.
them also connecting to our network as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that has also been an issue that I've heard in the marketplace as to why people, will accept certain connections and won't accept certain connections, or having their connections blocked,
Yeah.
right? Because on LinkedIn, you could do that, right? You could block people from seeing your connections.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I thought it was really great that you brought that up. And it's a very good point, a great point, actually, and one that people really don't have as top of mind.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that's sort of forgotten about. But
Mhm.
again, the premise of the platform is connecting, networking. So the people you have in your network are able to then network with each other,
Yeah.
right? That's the whole point of the platform. So people make judgments when they see who you're connected with, right? They gain a sense of insight into your mindset based on the people who you roll with,
Yeah.
essentially. So I think it's really important to consider that because we can typically see your connections and who is in your posse, so to speak, that you protect the people in your network by making sure that the only people you let in are people who are qualified to be there, people who are legit, people who are not going to come into the circle and be spamming everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love that. Okay, so and any other things that you would like to share with us in the vein of the sales, the moolah, the ducats?
You you know, one of the things that we all may need to spend more time doing on LinkedIn is finding groups where the problems we solve are talked about freely. Okay.
Yeah.
Groups, I feel, is another missed opportunity, especially for entrepreneurs on LinkedIn, because groups are smaller communities where you can truly build those relationships that lead to sales, but in a different timeline versus what we would see in just your typical engagement on our timelines. So within groups, you can actually become the person that stands out as the solution provider when you're choosing groups that have your problems present. So,
Yeah.
as an example, if your whole thing is sales coaching, I spoke yesterday with a sales coach, and they were looking, their ideal demographic in growing their business is entrepreneurs or people who are transitioning into entrepreneurship. So sales is something that may not be a strong suit for them in that transition. So we looked for groups specifically around new entrepreneurs,
Mm.
people transitioning out of the workspace into owning their business, people who signed up for sales conferences, people who go to smaller communities on LinkedIn to freely learn about how to fix whatever their problem is, right? And doing that and searching for those groups with this sales coach, we found so many opportunities for them in small, intimate settings
Yeah.
to come along and simply be a part of the discussion. Not
Yeah.
that they're selling their coaching services, but they're simply being a part of the conversations that are being had within those groups. And in doing so and being a part of the conversation, they're showing their acumen in that space. So over time, they build that know, like, and trust factor,
Yeah.
which leads to the sales.
Yeah, and I love that, right? And the reason, one of the things that you helped me to get present with on LinkedIn is how to, I think the key that you said is looking for not only the groups, but even looking at the small, intimate ones,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I think that that's one of the biggest misconceptions or biggest missed opportunities,
Mm-hmm.
for us as entrepreneurs, right? We're always thinking that the bigger, the better.
Right.
So sometimes, we want to look at the groups who have 50 gazillion members
Right.
inside of the group, and then, we're lost in that sea
Exactly.
of people. No one hears our voice. And then,
Exactly.
and what I talk about all the time is like there's only so long that you can do an activity and you not see results,
Right.
or return of investment of your time before
Right.
you quit,
It's
that
true.
activity. Right. And so being able, to, be really conscious about the areas and the opportunities that you're going to serve in. And I love that you said that, right? So be knowing where you're going to show up and serve, where you're going to show up and participate in the conversation and be a resource before you even position,
Exactly.
for the sale, or ask, for the money. Like you said, it's all about the like, know, and trust factor.
Exactly. And that really ties in well. There's a question from Miss Cynthia about how to find your demographic on LinkedIn. And one thing that I think people forget about LinkedIn is it's a search tool. It's a search engine, just
Mhm.
like Google. It works the same exact way. In fact, you can do Boolean searches on LinkedIn. Now, we'll have to have a conversation another day about what Boolean searches are, but if you go Google Boolean today, Boolean searches, you'll see that all this time you've been missing out on how to more
Yeah.
effectively search for things that you're looking for. So, in searching for your demographic on LinkedIn, assuming that you know what your demographic is,
Yeah.
use it as a search engine. So, whatever your demographic is, that's specific group of people that you're looking for, you type that into the search field. And yes, you use Boolean. So you understand that if you're looking specifically for a tight category of people, put that search in quotes. Okay.
Mhm.
That way, if you put the search in quotes, quotes on the front end, quotes on the back end, LinkedIn is going to search for that exact phrasing that you put into the search field. what you'll find when you do that and then hit enter versus choosing out of the drop down,
Yes.
you get the drop down as you start typing something, but rather than clicking on something in that drop down option, I encourage you to always hit enter on your searches, because if you hit enter, you'll also get all of the filters across the top of the page. So those filters allow you to take your specific search and narrow that down even more. So maybe you've got 50 gazillion results, and that's too many to sort through, obviously, but you can filter by things like location. Are they a second degree connection from you? What industry are they in? So narrowing that search down even more to get closer to identifying who is in your ideal demographic here within your network. So I hope that answers your question. Thank you for
Yes, thank
reminding
you
me.
so much, Cynthia. Thank you for joining, Cynthia. Great morning. How are you? And she says, thank you for reminding me.
Mhm.
And so we are coming up on top of the hour, and I want to make sure that I get all of our questions. So I see that there's a question in here from Audrey, and Audrey has asked, how much time is allowed to tell your brand story? Is there a time limit?
Is there a time limit?
Hmm.
I'm not sure if I understand the question, Miss Audrey, but no, there's not a time limit if we're talking about that about section. I think she is referring to when we were talking about the about section, and I was saying how that's a perfect piece of real estate to tell your story. So, no, there's not a time limit there, but there is a character limit. So, there's a maximum there of 2,000 characters that you can use in that whole section. So it's not a time thing, but you do have to get your story condensed into that 2,000 characters of space. I
Okay,
hope
yes,
that
and she
answers
and
the
she did say
question.
yes, the about section.
Good.
So great. Thank you for clarifying, Audrey. Okay.
Thank
And
you.
and I see that Peg is out there this morning. Yes, I have Peggy and I have Peg. So great morning, Peggy. Thank you
Good
so much for
morning, both
joining.
of you.
And I'm just going back to make sure that I don't miss any questions. So once again, superstars, if you're tuning in, one of the ways that we're connecting, on this episode is through LinkedIn. So before you leave the broadcast, make sure that you drop the link to your LinkedIn profile. That way we could connect with you. We could go over there, check you out first, okay? See what you are all about, okay? And then make a connection, okay? And I don't know if I think I got all of the questions. And so if you have any last last minute questions for Coach Tawana, this will be your time to make sure that you get your questions answered. And thank you, Dee, for putting that in there in the chat. I just love when my superstars they just show up awesome and serve, and they put all the comments in the comment section because they know I can't type and talk at the same time.
Isn't that awesome? I swear.
so, so thank you, Dee, for putting that in there. Maximize the 2,000 characters in the about section on LinkedIn. And Peg is saying Dee and I are already connected and we are now linked. I love it.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah. And then Peg is also saying, thanks, Coach Tawana and Taria. Great session. And I think I have a question on the floor from Adil. So Adil is asking, is it true that LinkedIn has set a limit on how many connections you can make or profile you can visit in a month? Once I was doing irrelevant, inactive connections cleanup, and I guess I must have removed 100 connections or more when LinkedIn temporarily blocked my account, thinking that I was using an external software. Now, Adil, thank you so much for that question, okay? Because it's one of the things, yes, with LinkedIn. There's and I love it, right? Because one of the things that the platform is making sure that we are not doing is spamming right, our connections. And like you said, it's so good because this is the place where people come, to do business, and they don't want to, be bombarded with things that aren't relevant and everything. So yes, LinkedIn does have some parameters out there, things that check to see if people are using bots and all of that stuff. So can you speak a little bit more to that, Coach Tawana?
Absolutely. I hear this story often. It's the same approach. People are wanting to purge the connections that they have. And in doing so, they have to open someone's profile to determine whether or not they want to keep them in the network. And sure enough, we all sign up for LinkedIn or any uh, app or platform for that matter, and none of us really read the terms and conditions that are listed in LinkedIn's terms and conditions. I mean, if you printed that out, I'm sure it'd be like 11 pages. It's really, really long. But in their small print, in their terms and conditions, they talk about things like the limits around how many profiles you can open in a month, how many connections you can send. Most people have no idea there is a limit of how many connection requests you can send in your entire LinkedIn account.
Yeah, I did
Why?
not know that until you shared that with me.
And here's the unfortunate piece of that. I've seen this happen many times. People will get to that limit and they legitimately want to send out connection requests to someone. And in the process of doing so, they realize they can't. They've hit that limit, they've maxed their limit. You can't get any more after that. So, folks should write this in their notes. You've got a maximum of 3,000 connection requests that you can send in your whole account lifespan. Now, that's why I encourage my clients to stop sending connection requests. Unless someone is truly an influencer to you or truly important to you, and there's a reason for you to actually use this connection request, if you feel that person is worthy to be in your network and worthy for you to give up that connection request, go for it. But 8 out of 10 times, you can encourage this person that you want in your network to send the connection request to you. That way,
Mm,
you're not using your connection request, but you still have this person in your network,
yeah.
right? But hold on to as many connection requests as you can, because that's one of the things that LinkedIn puts a limit on. And like you said, thank goodness that they do this because they're making sure that overall the platform is still a robust platform and not toxic with spammers.
Yeah. And I see that Peggy asked the question, the same question that I asked. So if you go over, can you delete some and then go back to 3,000? And the
Mhm.
answer to the question, Peggy, is no. So you
No.
have 3,000 for the lifetime of LinkedIn. And so what I love about this is, for you to be very crystal clear, and focused on who you want to connect with,
Mhm.
on LinkedIn.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Someone's got to be truly worthy for you to give up that request. But otherwise, invite them to send you one and you'll accept it. So you'll still be connected, but you want to be very choosy about who you send them to.
Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
Awesome. And then I see Adil said that he has to jump off. And I also just wanted to point out Adil. Adil is also a member of V Team, and so is
Yay.
Coach Tawana.
Nice
Okay.
to
And yes,
meet
so if
you.
you guys haven't connected as yet, you definitely, definitely want to. Okay. So thank you, Adil.
Fantastic. Thanks for joining, Adil.
Yes.
That
um,
global V team in
the
the
Global
house.
V Team Network. Yes.
Yes.
And so we are at the top of the hour, Coach Tawana. So I'm going to leave last minute, words to you. Oh, and before I forget, let me make sure I put it up. Coach Tawana is offering a free gift. I almost forgot. So for those of you who would like to receive a free review of your LinkedIn profile, Coach Tawana is offering, to give a free review of your LinkedIn profile. And I believe you could see the link and the information scrolling across the bottom of the screen. And I'll go back and add it as well, to each platform so people will have access to it. Okay. So that's Coach Tawana's way of showing up and serving and showing up and shining this morning. So, any last minute comments, Coach Tawana?
Well, first thing, in case that link doesn't work, just in case, feel free to simply shoot me a message in LinkedIn and just put free LinkedIn profile review, and I'll know that you saw the offer here and still get you scheduled, just in case you have problems with the link itself. But my last words here are that it's so important for those of us in business who want to stand out and have opportunities coming to you rather than you looking for opportunities all the time. Build your brand presence here on LinkedIn. That means not just having a profile, but actually building a business page as well. But use this platform as a way to connect with your market so that people get to know you, get to know your brand, get to like what you do, and ultimately trust you as a business owner. It's really the platform that you want to invest your time and energy into.
All right, awesome. And then outside of LinkedIn, Coach Tawana, is there any other way that our superstars can connect with you?
Absolutely. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all the platforms is at my coach Tawana. So at my coach Tawana on pretty much any platform. I think I'm missing one, but type in at my coach Tawana and you'll see if I'm there on that platform. So
I
feel
love
free to
it.
reach out to me, but the one that you'll get my attention on is LinkedIn,
Okay, all
which
right,
is at
awesome.
my coach Tawana as
At my
well.
Coach Tawana. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for this, Coach Tawana. Like I said, I'm singing your praises because you have helped me get my LinkedIn life together. And just in the short space of time that we're working, together, like I've seen some massive changes, massive results. So, yes, thank you. Thank you. All
My
right.
pleasure.
And so, superstars, that brings this episode to an end. So once again, if you have not connected with us in our Serve Share Shine the Givers community, make sure that you head on over to Facebook and you could connect with us there. Our LinkedIn group, Coach Tawana, is coming soon. It's up. I just have to put a little bit more stuff in there, and then I'll be able to tell our superstars where they could connect with us in our LinkedIn community. So once again, thank you for that. You could also follow Social Media Saturdays, on Instagram. We're on Instagram at Taria Hodge. You could check out all our videos on YouTube under Social Media Saturdays. You could connect with me, on LinkedIn as Taria Hodge, and Twitter, Social Media Saturdays. Okay. So thank you, everyone, and enjoy
Thank you.
until the next time. Bye bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye bye.